Hold up. What went down on NBA Today this afternoon regarding Jared Vanderbilt is going to completely change how you view the Lakers' defensive identity and championship potential. And I'm not talking about some predictable player is healthy now fluff piece. This is legitimate organizational transformation meeting perfect timing. And when Malika Andrews and the panel started unpacking Mike Trudell's reporting from Spectrum Sports about Vanderbilt's off-season preparation, I literally had to rewind because the implications are so massive that this could be the defensive X factor that makes or breaks LA's entire season. So I'm watching NBA Today right as they're going through their Lakers coverage. And suddenly, the entire studio energy shifts because this isn't just another injury update. This is the first time in years that Jared Vanderbilt is entering training camp fully healthy after a complete off-season of work, both on and off the court. Vanderbilt himself told Trudell, having that confidence going into the year instead of playing catch-up is big. It's super important. Seek. That quote might sound simple on the surface, but when you understand the context of Vanderbilt's injury history and what he represents for this Lakers roster, it becomes absolutely loaded with meaning. Let me break down what really happened during this NBA Today segment, because the casual Lakers get a player back from injury narrative completely misses the strategic chess moves and roster construction implications happening behind the scenes. The panel put up Vanderbilt's games played over his 3 Lakers seasons, and the numbers are absolutely brutal when you see them laid out. 36 games last year, coming off almost a full calendar year dealing with heel and foot issues. 29 games the year before that. 26 games his first season in LA. Do the math, and Vanderbilt has basically played a little over 80 combined games across 3 full seasons with the Lakers. That's not just unfortunate injury luck. That's a pattern of unavailability that would make most organizations cut bait and move on. But here's where the Lakers' organizational vision becomes fascinating. And Kendrick Perkins was making this point that really resonated during the segment. The Lakers gave Vanderbilt a 4-year extension despite that injury history, and he's only in year 2 of that deal right now. That's not the move of a franchise hedging their bets or playing it safe. That's a franchise betting big on talent and fit when healthy, believing that if they can get a full season of prime Vanderbilt, the defensive impact justifies the risk. Perkins was saying the Lakers clearly saw something in Vanderbilt that made them prioritize keeping him over D'Angelo Russell and Malik Beasley. Who were the other pieces in that famous Russell-Westbrook trade? Vanderbilt was viewed as the 3rd most valuable asset in that deal, yet he's the one who stuck around while the other 2 moved on. Richard Jefferson dove into the defensive profile and why Vanderbilt is so uniquely valuable for this specific Lakers roster. And this is where the basketball IQ analysis really elevated the conversation. When the Lakers were running D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves in the backcourt last season, those are 2 guys who aren't elite perimeter defenders. You absolutely need someone like Vanderbilt, who can lock down opposing teams' best wings and guard, who can switch across multiple positions, who brings that A-plus motor every single possession. Jefferson was showing film of Vanderbilt's on-ball defense, and the intensity is genuinely elite when he's healthy and engaged. The rebounding dimension became another major talking point during the NBA Today coverage, and this ties into broader trends the Lakers are trying to address. Vanderbilt averaged over 2 offensive rebounds per game in limited action, which is legitimately impactful for second-chance points and extending possessions. When Anthony Davis went down with injuries last season, the Lakers absolutely got destroyed on the glass. That's part of why they brought in DeAndre Ayton, part of why keeping Vanderbilt healthy matters so much. Modern NBA basketball increasingly comes down to winning the rebounding battle, and Vanderbilt gives them size, athleticism, and effort on the boards that few players can match at his position. But here's where the starting lineup speculation got really interesting during the segment, and Malika was asking the exact right questions about rotation construction. Is Vanderbilt actually going to start for this Lakers team? On paper, it sounds crazy, given his injury history and limited offensive game, but when you think through the defensive identity J.J. Redick wants to establish, there's a legitimate case to be made. The panel acknowledged that Rui Hachimura is probably the frontrunner for that starting forward spot, and Marcus Smart's addition creates more competition, and Jake LaRavia showed flashes, but Vanderbilt could absolutely be in that conversation if he proves his health. Jefferson made this comparison to P.J. Tucker's role with those Houston Rockets championship contending team, and I thought that was the perfect player comp for what Vanderbilt could be at his ceiling. Tucker wasn't a scorer, wasn't creating offense, but he was an absolute dog defensively who could guard positions 1 through 5, who crashed the glass relentlessly, who hit enough corner threes to keep defenses honest. That's the archetype Vanderbilt needs to emulate, and if he spent this extended offseason working specifically on corner three-point shooting and finishing around the basket, he could legitimately carve out a starting role. The offensive limitations discussion was addressed honestly during the segment, and this is where you see the realistic constraints on Vanderbilt's ceiling. He shot poorly from 3 last season. He struggled finishing around the rim with anything other than wide-open dunks, and his overall offensive skill set is limited enough that defenses can basically ignore him and load up on LeBron, Luka, and Reeves. Perkins was saying if Vanderbilt can just get to respectable, not good, not great, just respectable, from the corners on catch-and-shoot threes, and if he can finish basic layups and floaters with both hands, suddenly his defensive value becomes maximally impactful, because defenses can't completely help off him. The J.J. Redick creativity angle became another fascinating subplot, and the panel was speculating about how Redick might deploy Vanderbilt in ways that maximize his strengths while hiding his weaknesses, using him as an off-ball screener to free up Reeves, Luka, and LeBron, setting him up for backdoor cuts and putbacks rather than asking him to create offense, staggering his minutes so he's always playing with elite offensive creators who can generate the easy looks he needs. That's championship-level coaching, when you can take a player with obvious limitations and still extract maximum value through creative deployment. Here's what really emerged from the entire NBA Today segment that I think Lakers fans need to understand. Vanderbilt being fully healthy for the first time in years isn't just about getting another rotation player back. This is about defensive identity, rebounding presence, and having that junkyard dog mentality guy who sets the tone through effort and intensity. When the Lakers made that 4-year commitment despite the injury concerns, they were betting on exactly this scenario. A full off-season of preparation leading to a breakout healthy season where Vanderbilt becomes a legitimate difference maker. That's what went down on NBA Today this afternoon. And honestly, if Jared Vanderbilt can give the Lakers even 60 to 65 games of his defensive peak, this team's championship ceiling just went through the roof.